And in current organization, I'm working with the one project that is RMM, which is a Rhapsody model management. And this product is all about like we have different phases of life cycle management for a particular software, right? Designing phase and implementation and testing and all. And we have some third-party tools like at testing level or to manage the this kind of phases. We have Jira to like to have like a stories, then defect, then the test cases we can have those kind of things. So IBM have their own products to handle this kind of phases. Like Jira is there in market, so IBM having those number of products. So one of the product is RMM. I just talked about it. That is a Rhapsody model management, and it sits between the designing phase. Okay, and here what this product provide you features like you can drag and drop the things or modules to create like a designing phase where you can define a relationship and all between. For example, we have classes, then we have components, then we have like interfaces. We can do these things and create a relationship between and can have a modeling level of information how software is going to be work. Okay, so IBM is having that product, and this particular product is having two kind of functionality. Like one is for like standalone part where we have actual product that is Rhapsody application, which is a kind of desktop application where you actually do all this these activity and create the models. And then we have web application that is Rhapsody model management RMM, on which I'm working on, and that part is like to provide you way to interact this particular created model or create a traceability between different phases of life cycle. Like we have defects, so if this particular
Okay,
model
got
is
it. Got it.
so
So
my
what are the
response.
technology you are using or you are aware of?
Yeah. So current project, my responsibility like to maintain the product, like fixing the defects, or have like implementation for a particular feature if there are any. Also to resolve any client related issues. Okay, so we have the way to like interact with client accordingly. So currently, I am aware of, or I am like have an experience in Java, core Java, then
Mm,
Spring, Spring Boot, and at front end level, I can say I never worked on any framework, but I know
mm,
the basics of like JavaScript. Then we have CSS, HTML, then jQuery, Ajax, Call, and all. So I
okay.
know the basics so that I can actually like create some kind of front end level
Mm.
application so that it can interact with your backend. But I don't
Okay,
have
so
experience, actual experience in framework.
okay.
Mhm.
An experience in Hibernate?
Yeah, some experience in Hibernate. Uh, but I like, I mean, as we actually worked on Spring Boot, so we usually use repositories, I mean, the services we have. So we don't actually have to configure the Hibernate related things. I mean, in Hibernate, we usually configure all the things, right? Uh,
Right.
from the entity to the database and all, or caching. But here we just like have to add minimum level of configurations, like only database related operation, related information. So I
Mm.
have this knowledge, this kind of knowledge, like how can we configure the Hibernate so that I can
Okay,
use that
in
particular.
Spring Boot, so if you
Yeah.
want to connect to a Oracle database, what are the configuration need to be?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I'll use a JPA dependency to make it more flexible, so that I can switch database in future. After
Mm-hmm.
that, for Oracle, if I have any like drivers for that,
Mm-hmm.
for example, for Oracle, I guess there is some driver like we have for MySQL. So I have to add that particular driver so that I can easily interact with the Oracle database in a
Where you
like
will add
in pom.xml.
form.xml. A driver,
Okay.
you will add driver in form.xml. Any, so
Mhm.
what about URL,
Yeah,
database
that's
URL,
yeah. So
password,
that
username, where you will enter all these?
Right. So that will be the part of properties file we have, that application dot property. So here you can define your data source related to properties like URL, then password, then if there is any dialect required for in particular
Mm,
specific to database, then we have uh, username password is done. Um, then anything specific to database. So I mean the URL is done, username password dialect, and um, I mean the whatever the requirement is there for connecting in database, that must be a part of properties file so that it can
okay.
be available to your Spring Boot application.
Mhm. So let's come to core Java. So in core Java, do you know what is concurrent hash map
Yes, yes.
and why we use it?
All right. So we have some hash maps with us, like a normal hash map, but that is not a synchronous one. I mean, that is not a kind of thread safe. Okay. I mean, multiple thread can be access this, and there can be a problem with concurrency. I mean, the data can be inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
So to resolve this, we have many approaches. Like one, we have a synchronous map. I mean, the collections API from using one collections API, that is collections dot synchronize map. I can provide the object of that particular map, so that it will have object. Now that particular hash map object is synchronized one. I mean this is a thread safe, so that it
Mm-hmm.
will be used in a synchronized way and data can be consistent. But the problem is, now we synchronize the complete object. There is a deadlock mechanism. There is a like locking and all to do some operations by thread. I mean, the one thread
Mm-hmm.
is now accessing, the second thread we have to wait for some time, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
first thread is going to do. Only after that, if the first thread is going to release, then second thread can access it. So
Mm-hmm.
it will impact your performance, then slowness and all. So so to improve this, this disadvantage, we have concurrent hash map. So what it will do internally, there are some APIs in hashmap, like to write something to it or to read something from it. So
Mm-hmm.
the writing operations what we have, I mean the writing APIs, for example, put, all those are API are synchronized only. I mean it is partially synchronized, but not complete one. And for reading operation, it is not synchronized ones. I mean the APIs, so that
Mm-hmm.
any thread can access it. And there are some segment given to all I mean segments are nothing but a particular section of an object is accessible. I mean
Mm-hmm.
one thread can access one section, so that no, remaining sections can be available to other threads. So because of that, there is performance improve, and it can be faster than we have the synchronized Hashmap.
Okay, that is called
Uh,
bucket. I think you wanted to say.
yeah, right, bucket. So it's kind of segment wise used by threads. Uh,
So what
Also, we
is
can
hash
use,
collision?
okay, right. Hash collision is like when we do put operation on hash map. Okay, so internally, what will do? It will first calculate the hash code for a particular key.
Mm,
Okay, and accordingly to that particular hash code, it will calculate the bucket location to where that particular key value pair is going to be stored.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so hash collision is like when I have something already present in my hash. I mean that bucket with a key value pair,
Mm,
and I'm adding another key value pair, and at the time of calculating the hash code for the particular key. So here hash is coming same for both different keys. Okay, so for different keys, if we have same hash code, then there is hash collision. Okay,
okay,
so
got
hash
it, got
map.
it.
uh,
That is enough. That is enough. So you have also exposure in Java 8.
yes.
So what are the new things that has been added in interface in Java 8?
Okay. Okay, so previously to Java, we have only abstract methods in interfaces. But here in Java, we can have some methods where we can define a body, body for particular method. I mean, the implementation is there for method. It's not abstract one only. So those methods are called default methods, and and there I can have another kind of method, that is static method. And these two methods, for these two methods I can write implementation itself in the interface. So now in Java 8 interface allow you to add the implementation of a methods by using this default
mm.
and static mechanism for the method.
So, okay. What is Hashcode equals contract?
Hash code equal, okay. Okay, so whenever you have something implemented for like comparing two object, okay, and if you are going to like override your equals, hash code, then the hash code is part of your Java objects class, and whenever you create any class, you are extending those features, those methods in your user defined class. So you have the access to this hash code and equals method.
Mm,
And if you want to override your hash code mechanism, okay,
mm,
so in that case you have to in conjunction have to override a particular equals method for that, so that you can add your mechanism of comparing two separate operations, so comparing two different objects. For example, if I am adding comparison on base of some property,
mm,
let's say we have employee object, and I'm
mm,
comparing two employees, and I want to do compare based on first name only. So I have to
mm.
do this mechanism by overriding both the methods, so that it will be like proper way of comparison.
Okay. What is metaspace?
Meta
Metaspace in memory.
Metaspace, no, I heard about it, but I don't have much like information about it.
Okay. So, what is the role of serial version UID in serialization?
Yeah. So whenever we create in class, it asks you to like serialize your class with some ID. So we add this property serial version UID. So it is something related to and concurrent way of identifying your particular object. So something that is not aware of much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What suppose there are two threads. Okay,
Okay.
they are running, and we want to make some counter. Okay, so the counter value will be incremented by both.
Okay.
Okay, by thread one and thread two. Okay. So what should be the data type or for that counter? Data type
Data
or
type.
yeah, data type or special keyword we can provide so that it can be shared between two threads. If I write this as integer, okay, integer
Okay.
count, then it will be available to only thread one and not for thread two. Okay, that or they both will create a two copy of integer. Okay, and they both will keep incrementing in their stack. But we want that should be a
Hmm.
common.
Okay, got it. If I add a int count only, then it will be a instance specific memory creation. Okay, so whenever I create two separate thread, then it will have two separate memory space for that int count variable. But if I add static to it, it will be shared between the the whatever the instances number of instances we create. It will not create those number of memory for particular variable. It will have a common space. Okay, but to increment that particular counter, we should have some mechanism like concurrent mechanism. For example, I'll create one static method which will be a synchronized one. Okay, so I'll add synchronous keyword, and inside that I'll add that code that is incrementing that particular count. So it should be a static so that it will be available to both, and this way I can synchronously increment them.
Mm-hmm.
That is you want to do, right?
No, we should use volatile.
Okay. I never used, so I thought this would be the
Okay, so what is transient keyword in serialization?
I mean, I know I heard about this, but uh, transit is like something mm, can be changeable, but I don't remember exactly, so I don't know.
Okay, so if you use if you want, if you do not want to persist any of data member, then we can use that. So okay,
Oh,
so moving to
okay.
next, suppose there is the employee class. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and you want to sort based by name.
Okay.
Okay, but you are not allowed to do any changes in the employee class. How would you compare to employee object?
Right, right. So I can use comparator interface here,
Mm-hmm.
and I can write like uh, on runtime. I can write implementation for that. For example, I have a list of employees. Okay, and now I want to sort them based on name. So what I
Mm-hmm.
do, collections dot sort API. Inside I can provide a list and comma, and then second parameter is implementation for comparator. So
Okay.
I'll add that comparator implementation on the basis of this first name.
Mm-hmm.
I am not allowed to like change employee. If I was, then I can like implement a comparable instead. But I can use comparator here if I don't have like access to that class.
Mm-hmm.
Should I tell you the logic complete?
No, 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 that is enough.
Okay.
You are correct. Okay, so as you know that string is immutable in Java.
Right.
Hmm. What other classes do you know that are immutable?
What other classes?
Yeah. If you remember in Java JDK,
No, no, I don't remember now. But I know there are some, but don't remember the names.
so how to create a immutable class?
Immutable class, right? So um, I can have properties with a final keyword, and I can like restrict the like I mean the method to the method. I can add some restrictions to not allow it to change a particular value. I mean there's some property. This way I
Hmm.
can. I mean, and if I don't want to, uh, I mean, extend it further, I can add a final to this particular class. This way,
Hmm. Yeah, you are going in right direction. That's nice. Okay,
yeah. I'm remembering this only.
okay, okay. So if there are some member variable in a class that im- is immutable.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Sorry. That is mutable, like map. Okay, map is a mutable object. Okay. So in case of making a class immutable, so how do you initialize that map? Any idea?
I mean, the complete class is you don't want to change, right? I mean, the immutable
No,
class.
no, you can change. But I'm asking
Huh.
about the suppose in a suppose there is a employee object. In employee object there is a object that is a map. Okay.
Huh.
So
Okay.
in constructor of that student object, okay. So how we can assign, how we can create immutable, how we can maintain the immutability of this class. So if we just write a constructor like this dot map equals to the from the constructor, so this will create a immutable.
Right. Right. Okay. And the values will be initialized already, right?
Right.
Okay. So I'll mark that particular constructor property. I mean that map property, whatever the student has, as a private first of all, so that it cannot be
Mm-hmm.
directly accessible to different classes.
Right.
Then after that, I can initialize them using static block if I have,
Hmm.
uh, because I can use constructor here, or I can use constructor.
You
I
can
mean,
use
whatever the constructor
constructor.
have, I can add at the end some values to initialize. But private should be there.
Oh,
Hmm.
right. Right. So what is the difference between wait and sleep?
Yeah. So sleep is like we are actually blocking thread. Okay. I mean, if I am calling some sleep API on particular thread, it is actually stopping for that particular time. But for a
Hmm.
wait, in a wait case, it will not stop a thread. I mean, it will not stop that particular thread on which I am calling the wait, but it allows a thread to go further. But in the case of sleep, it stops you. I mean, the particular thread is stop actually at the particular
Okay. The
for
main
the
thread
particular
will be
time.
stopped. Right.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what is the purpose of join method?
Yeah, so join is like if I want to allow different thread to run further, I mean first, then I
Hmm.
can use join. For example, I have one thread created in a main method. So
Hmm.
we have two threads now. I mean the main thread and the one child thread. And if I'm adding a join on main thread, okay.
Hmm.
So what it will do, it will like execute all the, I mean that particular logic, whatever the thread has first, then it will allow second one.
Hmm. Okay, right. 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 So moving to next, what's the difference between runnable and callable interface?
Runnable, callable. Okay. I mean, runnable, I know it is for creating a thread. I mean, the creation of a threads we can use for that particular interface. But callable, I never use, so I don't know about it.
But you should know. It's a very minor difference. The difference is runnable
Mhm.
has no return type, and but callable has return type.
Oh, okay.
Very minor difference.
I have to check this. Okay. Mhm.
Okay, so moving to next. So in Spring Boot, what is the role of @Spring Boot application annotation?
Hmm. So this annotation contains number of, uh, I mean, the internal annotations we have. For example, configuration, add rate configuration, then add rate component scan, then add rate exclude configuration file, something related to. So these
Mm-hmm.
components, I mean, these number of configurations are actually required to allow Spring application or Spring Boot application to configure your classes, provide bins available to particular scanned package or not. So these number of things are done just adding for particular one that Spring Boot application annotation.
Okay. Hmm. Okay, so I am giving you some question. Okay,
Okay.
some multiple choice. Try to solve. Let me see how much you can solve. All are from Hibernate. Okay.
Okay.
Let me see. Mhm. Why it's not allowing to paste here?
Which among the below do not belong to core interfaces of Hibernate? A is section management, configuration, session is the criteria. Uh, I think session management. I had
Okay,
configuration
right.
criteria. Yeah. Which method returns the proxy object? Mm-hmm. Git. This one D.
Right,
Load.
right.
Which of the following method is used inside session only? Session. No? Okay. We have save query update and okay. Not sure, but I guess it's C update for the
Absolutely
third.
right. Yeah, you did all the three correct answer. 100% mark.
Okay, thank you.
Good, good.
Actually, I mean, nowadays we don't actually do the things right,
Yeah,
keeping
right,
a
right.
session manager. So that's why I just forgot some part.
Okay, one more. Sorry. So, could you please write a program to reverse a number? Like
Okay.
if the integer I goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have to print 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or you can give me logic. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, so we can use that model. I mean, I can use 10. I mean, sorry, that's kind of like dividing the number first with the 10, then getting modular on that using 10.
Mm-hmm.
We can
Remainder.
get last number reminder. Yeah, right. So we can get a last number first. Then we can have some temporary variable. Onto that, I can calculate it into a 10, then add it with some other. I mean, with same temporary variable, you can add it to that particular assign back to the temporary variable. So right, the last one will be come to that particular variable first. I mean, at the first location. I'll do this in live in a loop till the particular number. Uh, I guess must be not zero.
Mm-hmm.
By because I'm at the less I'm dividing it by 10, so it should be positive one. So till then I'll do this. I'll till I get the particular number.
Okay, right. Logic seems to be correct. So, why we use GPA instead of using
J- Uh,
Hibernate?
right, right. So it's kind of we have something generic at upper level. I mean, the JPA is nothing but a specifications.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have interfaces. So
Mm-hmm.
JPA has those number of interfaces, and Hibernate provide you to way to implement that. Okay, but if I write something in Hibernate only, then if I try to change it to some other ORM tool, then I have to write those number of configuration again to map to this different ORM tool. Okay, but if I use
Mm-hmm.
JPA, as JPA is using only specification, not actual implementation. So internally, whatever the ORM tool you are going to use, it will just map the specification. I mean the interface and their APIs only.
Mm-hmm.
So once you write your application using JPA, you can easily switch between your ORM tools and database.
Got it,
So
got
it
it, got
is.
it, got it. So, in Spring, there are two type of injection. One is constructor and other is setter.
Right.
Okay, which one we should use in which time?
Okay. Okay. Uh, so whenever you want your injection must be done in a partial way. I mean, some properties need injection, some properties don't need injection. Okay, at that time I can use setter properties, setter injection. Um, and if I want to like uh, inject I mean dependencies all at a once for the particular object, I can use constructor injection because constructor what will do, it will inject the injection but also creates a new bean for you. Okay, I mean whenever you need a bean new object from that with the dependency injected, you can use constructor. But for a partial way or once you have object already and you just want to inject the dependencies accordingly, So you can use the setter injections.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right.
something related to that.
So if you have any idea about what are the scopes in Spring?
Yeah, yeah. So I know some like singleton, then we have prototype,
Mm-hmm. Right, right.
then there is request and session, I guess. And I don't know about the global, but there is a global one, but I never like
So
use
what's
that
the
particular. I
difference
never
between
don't know.
prototype and request?
Okay, okay. So for each request, for example, we have these uh, client web kind of application. So in that case, if there is a coming new request for, then in that case a particular for each new request there is this being created. Okay, the scope is like for each new request you have to create your bin.
Mm-hmm.
In case of prototype is like you whenever you ask for a bean from a container of a Spring, you will get a new bean. I mean the new object. It's like
Mm-hmm.
whenever I want to have some bean and I'm auto wiring it at different classes, so I'll be having those number of different beans or objects available. But internally, what Spring is doing, it will not actually doing that new something constructor. It will having some cloning mechanism so that it will be, I mean, improved in performance.
Mm. Okay, that is fine. Okay, Rakesh, I'm done from my side. Okay, it was really
Okay.
nice talking to you. Okay, so do
Yeah,
you have
same
any
here. So
question for me?
no, I was having some doubt on topics, so I'll be going to, I mean, know about those topics. So just wanted to know the feedback on that.
Okay,
Whether
if
I
I give
mean
you
to.
the feedback, so you need to brush up in your core Java. Okay, I mean
Okay,
the little depth. You
okay,
have
okay.
knowledge on the basics, but maybe
Uh-huh.
sometime we may expect some deeper
Okay. Mm-hmm.
or dig into your core Java only.
Sure,
Spring
sure.
and
That will be fine.
Hibernate part is good for you. That is fine.
Okay, okay. Okay, I'll surely do it. Thanks.
Okay,
Thank you, Surya.
thank, thank.
Thank you.